"Go back to whatever bus brought you here, old man. This gate isn't for you." That was the corporal's opening line, loud enough for the whole checkpoint line to hear. The old man in the faded utility jacket didn't raise his voice. He said, "I've stood at worse gates than this one." Behind him, a dozen people froze mid-step, phones lowering, nobody breathing. What none of them knew was that the name stitched above his pocket had once been read aloud in a room at the Pentagon. What none of them knew was that in 11 minutes, one phone call would end careers. Would you have believed him, looking the way he looked that morning? Keep that question in your chest, because to understand how a tired man in a thrift store jacket brought two officers to their knees at a gate they were sworn to guard, you have to go back 40 years, to a kitchen table and a set of dog tags that were never supposed to touch the ground. His name was Elijah Cross, and before any of this, he was simply a man in a small house near the base, boiling coffee at 5 in the morning, the way he'd done every day since retirement. Two things sat on that kitchen table without fail: his father's dog tags, dulled silver, looped through a leather cord, and a photograph of a young corporal who used to call him Gunny before that corporal became somebody important. Corporal Voss and PFC Riggs worked that gate like it belonged to them personally, waving through anyone in a shined uniform and squinting hard at anyone who wasn't. They had a system, it just didn't have room in it for an old black man in civilian clothes claiming a service record nobody at that gate had bothered to check. Elijah came that day for a memorial ceremony, honoring the man who'd trained him. Voss barely looked at his ID. "Everybody's got a story," he said, and that was the diminishing line, the first small cut. Riggs laughed. Then Voss reached across and swept the dog tags off the table Elijah was resting them on, flinging them into the gravel like loose change. Metal hit stone. Silence hit the crowd. Elijah bent down, slow, and picked up his father's tags one at a time, brushing off the dust with his thumb, and said nothing at all, which was somehow louder than shouting. But what none of them knew yet was where those tags had actually been. His mother had put that cord around his neck at the same table, 40 years earlier, and told him, "You don't raise your voice to be heard, you raise your record." He never forgot it. He'd carried that sentence through 2 wars and 30 years of proving people wrong at gates exactly like this one. Voss straightened up, chest out, voice climbing. "You people always try this at the gate. Flash an old jacket, expect a salute." That was the tell. The smaller the man felt inside, the bigger the words got. Elijah simply took out his phone. "One call," he said. "That's all I need. 10 minutes. 9. The crowd was counting without meaning to. Then a black SUV came fast up the access road, and a 2-star general stepped out before the driver had it in park, moving straight past Voss like he wasn't there, and stopped in front of Elijah and saluted first. "Gunnery Sergeant Cross," he said. "It's an honor, sir." Voss's face went the color of the gravel he'd thrown those tags into. Riggs took one step back, like distance might undo the last 10 minutes. The general turned, slow, and asked the question that mattered. "Which one of you decided a Silver Star recipient wasn't real infantry?" By that evening, the phone video had 11 million views. By the following week, Voss and Riggs were both relieved of gate duty pending investigation, and the base announced a full review of how retired veterans were treated at every checkpoint on post. The command issued a public apology, with Elijah standing beside them, tags back around his neck, exactly where they belonged. Go back and watch the 9th second of that video. You'll see Riggs's hand already reaching to grab the tags back off the ground before anyone told him to. Some part of him already knew. Years later, a scholarship bearing his father's name sent 3 young black Marines through officer training who otherwise couldn't have afforded it. Elijah still keeps the tags on that same kitchen table. If a story like this moved you, hit like, subscribe, and tell us below. Have you ever been underestimated by someone whose whole job was supposed to be protecting you? Here's what really gets me about this one. It's not the salute, it's the silence right before it. The half-second an entire gate finally saw a man who'd been standing in front of them all along. Tell me honestly, is there a gate in your own life you're still waiting to walk through?